I thought I'll start by saying words are so powerful. Firstly, it's how we communicate our thoughts. It carries information, details, context, so we can actually convey meaning and talk to one another. Secondly, it communicates our emotions and feelings through our volume and tone. For example, we can say the word wow, but each of us, depending on how we say it, can mean so many different things, right? For example, we could be genuinely surprised. Wow, wow, how do you do that, right? We could be agreeing during a message. Go, wow, wow, didn't think of that. We could be angry with somebody. Wow, why did he or why did they do? Wow, just so wow. We could be trying to pretend we like something our friends is showing us, but actually think it's terrible. Wow. And besides communicating, words create. Words create understanding or create misunderstanding between people. Words are how in conversations we either engage or disengage. Right? Words creates a response. So we can either harm or build another person. We can be hurt or encouraged by someone else's words to us. Words are also how we create culture and atmosphere. In families, in communities, society, even the world, whether that culture and atmosphere is peace or division. Words can either move us forward or take us backwards. And that is why today I'm talking about the power of words. Now, let's start with a verse, and I'm going to begin this message with how not to use our words. So, Exodus 23 1 to 3 says, "Don't spread false rumors, don't plot with evil people to act as a lying witness, don't take sides with important people to do wrong. When you act as a witness, don't stretch the truth to favor important people, but don't privilege unimportant people in their lawsuits either." Now, let me read it for you again, this time with my own commentary added in. All right? So, verse 1 says, "Don't spread false rumors." Information that is not true, a juicy conspiracy theory, for example, stories that are half true and half exaggeration, also known as fake news. Now, don't plot with evil people to act as a lying witness. In other words, don't ever deliberately slander someone. But also, if you don't know, say you don't know. Don't talk as if it's real, because that makes you an accomplice to the slanderer. Verse 2, don't take sides with important people to do wrong. When you act as a witness, don't stretch the truth to favor important people. So, don't curry favor. Don't talk about something and say only the parts that benefit you or get you the advantage with important people, but end up hurting other people. I'm really very grateful to grown up in our church, because in the evolution, we were always taught to have character with our words. From young, I remember always saying nothing good to say, don't say. We used to also say, if you want to laugh at yourself. Never mock or hurt others. I also like the culture that we teach in church intro class, that in our church, if you have an issue or doubts, talk up to your leaders and learn to communicate in a way that you will be received well. And never talk sideways. In other words, gossiping. Because that spreads a terrible culture and can affect the whole entire community. Here in our church, that rule of never gossiping has given us an environment that's safe, to have this safe and peace within us. When I go to work though, it's a whole another world. Do you agree? And when you go to school, it can be a jungle, right? So you see, there are different kinds of what the Bible calls rumors, different levels or worse to worse. The first and worst kind of rumor is the complete lie. Things that are false, things that are completely made up. It's crazy how much of this kind is out there, you know. The Bible says in verse 2, don't spread false rumors. Things like fabrications, conspiracy, and slander. For example, the COVID vaccine, right? Apparently, in Philippines right now, hardly anyone dares to take the vaccine. No, besides the rumors that says the vaccine has some side effects or might be dangerous, one rumor circulating is that their president, Rodrigo, is going to use the vaccination as a high-tech weapon to kill his people at a push of a button. This is stopping a huge number of people from getting immunized, which affects not just them, you know, but the rest of the population. Sometimes on their own, fake news seems pretty harmless because rumors and gossip seems like a fun way to pass time, right? We laugh because also we laugh also because some of it seems so ridiculous. But I also realize that it's so dangerous because there will always be a few people out there believing it is real. You know, years ago, there was an incident in Singapore where a semi-famous teen actor and a few of his friends conspired to accuse their swimming teacher in ACS of sexually harassing them. It was a big deal for nearly 2 months in the newspaper. Online, people were scolding the swimming coach, and everyone was weighing in, did he do it, did he not? And after many weeks, the boys admitted that they had made it all up to get back at the coach. But by then, it was already too late. A few of the parents were still scared and didn't trust him at all. And in the end, even though the school and many parents and his teachers, his students, tried to persuade him to stay, and so many of them had shared their own personal experiences about how the coach coached and mentored changed many lives. But the coach decided to resign because he was too traumatized by the incident and felt his reputation had suffered. So false rumors can have real consequences in the world. It can also have real consequences when it happens at work or school. And there comes a point where it could actually really hurt someone and in turn hurt us too. The second kind of rumor is the half true. So verse 2 and 3, Bible says don't take sides and don't privilege. And this one, it can go two different ways. The first thing is the fake news. We tell the half that we agree with, and then we add on the other half of false information, and that is how fake news is made. The second way is the biased news. We tell only the half that we agree with, the side of the stories that favors us or the people we are siding with. Then we leave out the half of the information that does not help us at all. Now, remember the shortage of toilet paper rumor? And did you know that the rumor actually started in Hong Kong? The fake news that was there would be a toilet paper and food storage shortage due to China's holidays being extended. So people started to panic buy, and a few tried to violently rob trucks that is shipping the toilet papers. But then, before you know it, the media started to report on it. Every newspaper outlet was reporting on it. Pictures of empty supermarket shelves. Why? Because it's an exciting news. It will get more and more attention. Then on top of that, when people read the news, you know, most of us don't read properly. We just look at pictures, right? The fastest ways to get news. So everyone in their own biasness starts to go crazy about this fake shortage. And then to make it worse, some silly people on the internet started photoshopping fake pictures. The reaction to fake news can be immediate and long lasting, I would say. I remember, right, even though our team knew that there wasn't going to be a real shortage in Singapore, we ended up having to send people to the supermarket to buy disinfectant solution because we knew that the shortage would be because people are panic buying. You know, rumors rile up our emotions and feelings. And depending on the strength of your emotional reaction and how convincing the fake story is, it can get stuck in your head even after you find out it is false. So it actually wastes our energy and also waste our time having to figure out that it is a false story. It's wasted government's time because now they have to work to convince people of the truth. Instead of being able to plan for the crisis, they have to work with newspapers and supermarkets to deal with panic buyers and assure the public. So, guys, don't share fake news and don't share your biased opinion if it's not needed. Now, the third kind of rumor is exaggeration. This is the one all of us we struggle the most with because it's so subtle and sometimes we are not conscious of it. Verse 2 says, don't stretch the truth. So I was just talking to Cindy and she was bringing her story up to me. So 2 weeks ago, Cindy was up for her yearly appraisal, right? So lately, her manager has been pretty stressed. She is doing the job of two managers, and then Cindy's colleague went in first for her appraisal. So the appraisal apparently didn't go very well, and her colleague said that the manager reprimanded her for not doing her job well. And from the sound of things, Cindy should be prepared to be scolded as well. So this, of course, made Cindy feel very afraid. To make things worse, her manager suddenly decided to postpone her. So for the 2 weeks, Cindy had to try to calm her anxiety and prepare herself for the appraisal. But when she went in, it all ended up good. Her appraisal went well. No, after all this happened, Cindy actually reflected and remembered that her colleague is the kind that tends to exaggerate stories. It just didn't occur to her at the moment. She was so caught up in her colleague's story that she would get scolded too. And it caused her to be worried for the whole week for no reason. No, it would have been better if the colleague didn't tell Cindy at all. Right? You see, this is the problem with rumors and gossip. Proverbs 18:8. Rumors are dainty morsels that sink deep into one's heart. So rumors start small, but they evolve. And it starts as a dainty morsel, a tiny drop in the ocean that grows. Then it takes on a life on its own, especially through gossip. Everyone keeps passing it, spreading it, minus some detail, adding some details, exaggerate some details. And before you know it, it has not only evolved, but it has exploded, creating hype and hate or fear and anxiety. And depending what sort of rumor or gossip it was, it has damaged someone's mental well-being, their confidence, their energy, and their attention. It has damaged the person it was targeted at, their relationships, their reputation. It has hurt them, wasted their time, maybe created numerous casualties along the way. See, a small word or an idea passed on has and amplified has now created death all around it. And that is the power of our words. That is the power of our speaking, whether conversations we have in person or even our posting and commenting on social media platforms. Now, I don't know what it's like for some of you at school or at work or online, but think about it. Anytime we have been caught in the evolution of a rumor of gossip, whether as a participant or bystander, it's such a waste of life and energy. You know, when I was a trainee in Esplanade, for our last assignment, we were all assigned internships. So the community in Esplanade is small, so everyone was started asking each other which assignment we got and who are we going to. And immediately, opinions of different bosses and companies flourished. When my boss's name was mentioned, I started receiving all sorts of comments about him, rumors about him from different people, from people who work with him or people who knew of people who work with him. You know, the kind that I heard this from him, that about my boss, that kind of thing. And more of the bad ones than the good ones. First, after hearing all this, it made me very, very anxious. Like, what am I getting myself into? Secondly, it shaped my impression of my boss even before I met him. And in the end, I actually enjoyed working with him and had a pleasant time learning because he was a very capable man. I realized that most of the good rumors I heard were true. Some of the bad ones were true too, but mostly because he is someone who expects excellence. And the bad rumors were mostly over exaggerated. And because of this incident, I realized how gossip can really, really destroy somebody's reputation. And it can really hinder the relationships. I went in so apprehensive to work with my boss because of what people say. And the problem of rumor also is this: good rumors don't travel as fast as bad rumors. Another time, there was this show I was doing, and a friend I had wasn't performing well. And again, because it's a small industry, the word traveled around very, very, very quickly. But what shocked me was by the time the gossip made its round and got back to me, the story had evolved from a job that she did badly to something she had never done in the first place. I had to help my friend clarify with people what was true and what was not. And what happened? During the passing of information, people added their own thoughts and opinions and talked as though they were there even if they weren't. This made what they had to say seem true even though it was false. What they did was terrible. It made others cautious about hiring her for concerns she wasn't capable. And worse, it is when the rumors reached her, it hurt her mentally and physically and emotionally. No, we need to be responsible with what we say, the stories we tell, the opinions we give. No, in the moment, you may think, oh, it's just my little opinion. But words are so, so powerful. Small opinions can have big consequences on others. Now, so how should we respond when rumors appear on our doorsteps? No, rumors, fake news, and even gossip. Like I said earlier, in the evolution, we like to say for the youth, nothing good to say, don't say. Just because you have the power to like, comment, share, and repost doesn't mean you should. Whether on social media or in real life, you know, for the adults, we occasionally say something quite cutthroat. Just because you're thinking it doesn't mean you should say it. I'm not saying we cannot talk, like, comment, or share at all. I'm saying free speech shouldn't always be 100% free. It should come with responsibility and accountability. And listen, free speech really isn't free at all. It tends to cost someone something even if it's not you. So, what does the Bible tells us to do when we hear rumors? It tells us to stop. Proverbs 26:20. Without wood, a fire goes out. Without gossips, conflict comes down. In other words, stop talking. Another thing that the Bible tells us to do is verify. So Proverbs 18:17 says, the first person to testify seems innocent until the other comes and cross-examines him. So when you hear a rumor or something that might be a rumor or gossip, stop and verify. For example, you can say to a friend, hey, is this true or not? Most people will just go, yeah, for sure, man. But when they speak that moment, you can tell from their faces, their voices, or even split second in their eyes, they probably don't know what they are saying is true. You can also say, hey, I think let's stop. I don't like to talk about people behind their backs. And your gossiping friend might say a lot of things back to you like, oh, no, I'm just saying only, I'm just saying only. Usually they give a very long story because they are embarrassed, but most people will stop. Or sometimes if you are really, really, really very brave, right? You go, if this is true, why not just go to tell the person face to face straight up, I feel that's better to deal with your unhappiness rather than spread it to others. After that, they will share back down. So, guys, stop and verify. Stop the rumor dies there. Or at least you are no longer an accomplice to the rumor. Verify, not so that you can capo, but so that you can stop false information from spreading. The problem with communication is the first to say tends to get the upper hand. Most of us know the first time we hear a rumor at work or school, our response tend to be, is it? We believe until it's proven otherwise, right? You see, unless just yesterday you listened to a message about not gossiping, chances are today you'll believe that what was said is possible. Because most of us, we don't have time to think about every single word that is said to us. So the best thing is to make a habit of stopping. Whenever we come across something that feels like a rumor or people that look like they are gossips, you can actually tell from their body language. So stop talking and stop the talking. And of course, we don't have time in our lives to verify everything, right? But when we do need to, when it's important to, then verify. We don't verify to be a busybody, but we verify to stop the spread of misinformation. And I'm very thankful that in our church, I've had this modeled for me over and over again. So that now it's my habit and I can more easily do it at work. We are never 100% perfect. But if we value peace and good relationships and community, this is a culture we must keep doing always. Because let me say, the most dangerous thing about rumors is how it destroys relationship and trust, reputation and credibility. When you lose those things, it's so hard to feel safe, to be at peace, to do the good works and live free lives. Proverbs 16:28. Destructive people produce conflict. Gossips alienate close friends. Now, I've really seen this happen in real life, okay? On rare occasions, this has happened in our church. I don't mind losing people who are destructive, toxic, gossips. And but the problem is, these people always produce side casualties. Innocent bystanders who believed them wasted their time and energy putting out fires. And the worst thing is, even if you get rid of gossips in your life eventually, they still leave a mess for us to clean up after. If you have colleagues or friends like that in school, stay far from them. They rob you of living a peaceful life. You should be busy pursuing your dreams. Instead, you are busy dealing with their drama. That's why in the evolution, we are so serious about how we talk and communicate. Let's do a little bit of culture building here, all right? The leaders here are happy to discuss things, whether it's feedback or talking things through if you have some questions or doubts. One thing I've realized, having been in the evolution for many years, right, is both as a member for many years and then later a leader, time and again, I've seen how pastor and my leaders are very thorough. They always check things, look at things from different perspective and listen and consider what others are thinking. So when you hear gossip or rumor, do your homework before you raise it. Stop and verify, because it can really waste everyone's time and emotion. But if you have thought it through and have sincere questions, learn to communicate well. Come with respect. Don't come like a know it all. Now, this is a very great tip for life and work. Coming with good EQ, with respect to a conversation, will help your cause more than coming with a terrible attitude. It will help your relationship with your friends and your family, your work colleagues, and everyone. People will be more happy and open to hearing you out. And when you're unhappy with something, with people in authority, whether it's at home, at school, or at work, be disciplined. Talk up, never sideways. First, it's necessary. In the Bible, Apostle Paul teaches us if you're upset with someone, talk to them yourself first. settle the problem between you and them, not spread the problem within you and other people. And of course, if it's something personal, like a personal struggle, talking to one or two close friends is okay to help you sort out your thoughts, right? But one or two is enough. The problem with chronic gossipers, they like to tell everyone, even people who are not close to them. And inevitably, they cannot help themselves. They will exaggerate. Because it's human nature, the more any human being tells a story, the more it changes. And if we have poor self-control, some of our talking can become terrible lies or half truths. And you know what that behavior is like? Like the 10 spies of Israel's pastor preached about 2 weeks ago, who passed on negative informations and then exaggerate things into a rumor. In the end, their word had consequences. It scared the whole entire community and they wasted Moses, Joshua's, Caleb's energy trying to calm everyone down. And in the end, the whole entire community, even the good people who already lost their chance to take the promised land. Now, all of us, we want to enter our promised land, to give all our energy and attention to a better future. So, don't let gossip be the thing that destroys that. Now, finally, I want to end off with this. What does God want us to do with our words? Number one, our words should be true. Now, I want to give you a few thoughts to reflect on today. First is, there might be a sort of a canal of truth in every rumor, but that does not make something true. Now, let me repeat our verse for today, Exodus 23 1 to 3. Don't spread false rumors. Don't plot with evil people to act as a lying witness. Don't take sides with important people to do wrong. When you act as a witness, don't stretch the truth to favor important people. Don't privilege unimportant people in their lawsuits either. Now, God wants us to be true with our words. And I think what that means is to have integrity with whatever we are saying. It's not just about how many facts there are in what we say, though that is also equally important. It has to do with, are we being true? When we speak, when we communicate, when we share information. All the youth here, authenticity is not just speaking your truth. There are a lot of people who tell their stories on social medias, but it's actually false or exaggerated. The Bible says don't stretch the truth to favor important people, but also don't privilege unimportant people in their supposed lawsuits either. And I don't think authenticity is speaking your unverified truth. I think authenticity is speaking true. Next thought I want us to think about is, just because you call something truth does not make it true. If you read the rest of Exodus 23, the passage does not talk about justice. And I guess that's the point of the message. Why we are told to be careful with our word is so we don't undermine justice. In verse 6, they say, don't undermine the justice. So this passage is not just about whether something you say is factually correct. It is about whether with our words we are true to each other, whether we are doing right by them. Guys, with your words, be true to the people around you. Secondly, our words should bring hope. So the Bible in Proverbs 16:24 it says, pleasant words are flowing honey, sweet to the taste and healing to the bones. See, our words should bring hope. Some friends we have, their words are just dream killers, if you know what I mean. When we share our ambitions for the future, all they have is negativity in return. And the worst is when they shoot down your dreams with so called facts. Especially when they say, but the truth is, right? I think there's no way you can do this. They give you their biased truth about your dreams. All the facts why you won't succeed, but none of the facts of why you will. That's why I say being truthful is more than just facts. Being truthful is also being true. And I'm not asking us to be external optimists who are the other extreme. People who are under the illusion that everything is good, everything is great. There's never anything wrong. That's not being true either. Being unrealistic is for sure setting yourself up to fail. But let's be people whose words bring hope that even if we have to be honest with ourselves or others, we find the right time, the right way to say things to people so they are built up and not torn down by our words. In Ephesians 4:29 says, "Don't let any foul words come out of your mouth. Only say what is helpful when it is needed for building up the community so that it benefits those who hear what you say." So ask yourself, do our words and timing of our words help or hinder? Do our words discourage or help people have hope? Do we build others around us towards success or making it harder for them to succeed? Our words should bring hope. Thirdly, our words should create life. So Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Proverbs 18:21, "Words kill, words give life. They are either poison or fruit. You choose." So with his word, God created the heavens and the earth and human beings. With his words, Jesus transformed lives. He turned fishermen into leaders and apostles. A society that was poor and oppressed, he gave them hope. Resurrection in this life and eternal life in the next one. God has put the same creative ability in us. And we are designed not just to communicate with our words, but to create with our words. With words, we worship and pray and transform spiritual atmosphere with the presence of God. With words, we preach and teach and communicate character and culture in our church. With words, we share and talk and converse with one another and the world, in person, online, and we literally create atmosphere of life and ambitions or death and division. What if all of us would start being conscious of the power of our words? As the Bible says, choose. Choose to speak life and not death. Choose to evolve ambition rather than evolve rumors. Now, I want to end off with a story I came across about Stephen King. Okay, so Stephen King is an American writer of horror, supernatural fiction, suspense, crime, science fiction, and fantasy novels. Many of his books have been made into blockbuster films, but his most famous is It, which some of you know as the 2017 blockbuster horror movie. But before he was famous, Stephen King lived poor. He and his wife and two kids lived in a trailer and drove a broken down car that was literally held together with wires and duct tape. His wife Tabby worked at Dunkin' Donuts while he taught English at a private school. And to scrape by, Stephen King also need to work during summers at an industrial laundry factory, moonlighted as a janitor and gas pump attendant. And money was so hard to come by that he couldn't afford his own typewriter. He had to use his wife's old typewriter from college, and his writing didn't take off. In desperation, he used to write short stories for men's magazines. And when he was lucky, once in a while, a small check would turn up in his mailbox.
and they always had just enough money to stay off welfare. One day, the head of the English department gave King an offer to be a new faculty advisor. It will pay him $300 extra per year. Not much, but enough to cover 10 weeks of family groceries. He thought Tabby would be enthusiastic together with him, but when she heard it, she wasn't convinced. She asked King, "Will you have time to write?" King replied, "Not much." Tabby told him, "Well, then you can't take it. You can't take this opportunity." So King turned down the offer and started writing a book called Carrie. But this book turned out to be really, really hard. He struggled with the plot. It looked extremely long, and in the end, he hated the multiple finished draft. So he threw them away. But the next day, Tabby was clearing the trash, and she saw three crinkled balls of paper. She took them, unraveled them, and read them. When King came home that night, she said to him, "You've got something here. I really think you do." She encouraged him to finish and help him figure out how to make changes. When the book was complete, King received 30 rejections. Wow. Some publishers came back with terrible feedback, saying his type of genre and writing would never sell. But together, they kept going. And one day, the editor of Doubleday Publishing, Bill Thompson, sent a telegram and a $2,500 advance for his book. The book did so well that subsequently the to the book were bought by an even larger company for 400K. Today, for all his novels, Stephen King has sold more than 350 million copies and counting. He was also awarded the National Medal of the Arts by President Barack Obama. This is the power of words of encouragement, love, and support. So many times, Stephen would have given up, thrown the towel in, if not for his wife who kept believing in him. Her words got him through, making a wrong job decision out of desperation, throwing away a good idea because it wasn't quite there yet, giving up after being rejected 30 times. Like Tabby, no, all of us, we can use our words to make a difference in someone's life. And you never know, because of what you say, someone might succeed in something they are trying to reach. So at the end of the day, guys, be aware of what you say, what you speak to one another.